I'm understanding. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Marco Nessi.
Here.
Jason Krempa.
Here.
Mark Ruby.
Here.
Brian Mahoney.
Here.
Nancy.
Here.
Susan Langdon.
Here.
Deanna Ontario Brennan.
Here.
And we have William Ross and William Buckley excused today.
Introduction of guests.
Are here to be in the staff. Secretary Watson McCarthy.
Mike Dudley, agency staff.
Elizabeth Hughes, Agency Counsel.
Joe Granget, agency staff.
Sue Barone, agency staff.
Jonathan Epstein, Buffalo News.
Jim Fink, WBEN Radio.
Ginger Williams, Farmer, Appleton, New York.
Joseph Salus, Apple here.
Betty Lennox, Somerset resident.
Rob Crean, Niagara Gazette.
Okay, great, thank you. Will we please stand for the pledge?
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the meeting minutes for February 18th.
Looking over the minute. So I'll make a motion to approve. Is it a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Let's see, finance committee.
All right, good morning, everybody. So this morning, the Audit and Finance Committee met, and we were lucky enough to get a presentation from our CPA firm, Limson McCormick. If those folks are still here, if they'd like to give us a quick overview of the findings for 2025 audit. We're yours.
Yep, so as you mentioned, we talked earlier. So I'll just go through really quickly on kind of the presentation you have in front of you. Before we're not here. We do an audit of those 5 entities listed on top of your page there. And essentially, we've issued an unmodified opinion on all of those entities, all those reports, which basically says that your title statements are fairly presented in accordance with the accounting standards. They're unmodified, it's the highest level of assurance. No findings. We also issue reports on government auditing standards and single audit for uniform guidance of your federal grants. Again, no findings in either of those reports. You're also required to file an investment report, which is New York State's law. You're basically invested in safe assets, no findings with that report. There's various other 990s for the IRS, other filings with the state, taken care of over the next few weeks. On the numbers side of it, a few pages in, there's summaries of all the various balance sheet income statement items. But essentially, you're in good financial condition. Really, the transactions, the dollars are very consistent with prior years. So one-offs. It's a good year overall, and no issues, no. So it's a really high level of the audit results for the year, and really all the management reports you get during the year are pretty accurate. We don't have any adjustments or very few adjustments in the year end of the audit.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, so can I get a motion to accept our 2025 audit into, I guess, accept it formally? All right, I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is accepted. Next up in your booklet, you guys will see the agency payables for the period of February 1st through February 28th. We reviewed those again this morning at the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. All appear to be in order. I will move to accept as presented. Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, agency payables are accepted. Next up is our budget variance reports, again for the period of February 1st through February 28th. As you can see, our actual year-to-date revenue is above budget, which is a good finding. Nothing appears to be out of order. Can I get a motion to accept as presented. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Audit and Finance Committee is complete.
Yes, the governance committee met earlier and looked over the board evaluation sheet and voted to approve. There were no disagreements with that. We'd like to entertain a motion to approve it at general meeting.
I make that motion.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The second part is the agency policies. Again, we had met this morning. Went over that. And everything looked in order. I make a recommendation to approve the agency policies. I'll make that recommendation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, great. Thank you. 7.0, this is our annual meeting for the NCIDA, the NCDC, and the NADC. And before I turn this over to our council, Mr. Gabriel, I'm going to take this opportunity to say it's time for me to go after this meeting. It's time for me to resign. And I'm making a nomination before Mark gets this for Jason to follow on as the chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, has been our custom, I will action for our chairperson for the upcoming year of the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency, the NCDC and the NADC. I understand that I will take Mr. Onesi's comments as a motion for Mr. Krempa. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Berube, second. Do I have any other nominations for chairperson? Hearing none, I direct the secretary to cast one vote for Mr. Krempa and congratulate him on his election as chairperson of the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency.
Thank you.
I will now turn it over to our new chairperson to handle the election of officers. At this time, as an aside, the committee members in other committee charters that are set forth are at the discretion or upon the appointment by the chairperson. So if Mr. Krempa is not ready to make those appointments today, we can do that at a later time and have the existing committees stay where they are. However, we will require, obviously with any recommendations from Mr. Onesi moving forward. So I'll turn it over to you again, Mr. Krempa. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm honored to move into that seat. Very much appreciate the faith that the board and the management or the leadership has in me. I will do my best to serve the board. So we do need to elect a slate of officers. Can I get a nomination for the first vice chairperson? Yeah.
Did you have that list, Mark? I have the slate that Mr. Onesi was going to propose, and I believe it was Mr. Berube as first vice chairman, Mr. Ross to remain as secretary, new member Deanna Brennan as our assistant secretary, since I have offices here in this building, makes it very easy for us, and the treasurer staying with Miss Glyzak. That was the slate. If there's any additional slates or any additional nominations. So if someone wants to bring that to a recommendation and nominate, I think the nomination came from Mr. Onesi. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
So there's the second. Do I have another slate or any other offices that someone else is interested and would like to nominate for? Hearing none, I direct the secretary to cast one vote for that slate and congratulate our officers in the upcoming year, and thank you very much. At this time, again, on 7.3, I will turn it back to Mr. Krepa, the appointments or to defer the appointments at his leisure.
All right, at this point, I'm going to recommend that we defer the appointments. We will move forward through the rest of this meeting with the existing committees, with the expectation that we will name new, or formalize new committees that are at the subsequent. All right, next up is if you take a look, the next up, we have our board meeting dates for the remainder of this calendar year. The slate is very consistent with what we've done in the past. I will make a motion for this to be our schedule for the remainder of 2026. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that moves forward. All right, next up, we have our committee charters. Reaffirmation of our committee charters. Mr. Gabriel?
Thank you. For both the Finance and Audit Committee as well as the Governance Committee, both of those respective committees have approved reaffirmation of those charters. They have not changed from last year, 2025. So at this time, we're looking for a motion for reaffirmation of the Finance and Audit Committee charter. We need a motion and a second.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Audit and Finance Committee charter passed.
And the same is for the Governance Committee charter. The Governance Committee has as recommending to the board that the reaffirmation of their committee charter. There has not been a change since last year. So again, I will need a motion and a second. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Governance Committee charter passes. 7.6, you see our mission statement. Mr. Gabriel, do you want to read our mission statement into the public record?
It's already in the record, but thank you. And it's posted on our line. It has been. We made some slight adjustments last year or the year before to it, but it's been consistent into this year. So we're very fortunate this year that the work we've done in the last couple of years doesn't require a lot of adjustment. So what we're going to look for is a motion and a second to reaffirm our mission statement.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, our mission statement carries.
And the same applies to 7.7, reaffirm our uniform tax exempt policy. There have been no changes since last year. So we're asking the board for a motion and a second to reaffirm our uniform tax exempt policy.
I will make said motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the uniform tax exempt policy carries forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
7.8,
7.8 through 7.10 are, as you know, the Niagara Industrial Incubator Associates, known as NIIA, is the joint venture, one of the two joint ventures we have with the Niagara Falls Transportation Authority, the NFTA, on the two buildings located on Niagara Falls Boulevard. Our executive director has customarily been our liaison and on the committee in dealing with the NIIA. You'll see her listed there on 7.8 and 7.9. In addition, on 7.10, the Niagara Economic Development Fund, the NEDF, is a fund which was originally started decades ago by the New York State Power Authority. The Niagara County IDA has 1 seat out of 5. It is not a subsidiary of our IDA, but Andrea, the executive director, in this case, Andrea, was always appointed. So in this case, Mr. Chairman, we're going to ask for a motion and a second to all 7.8, 7.9, and 7.10, reappointing Andrea Kleizak as the agency's liaison to these.
I will make the motion for 7.8, 7.9, and 7.10.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations, Andrew. All right, 7.11, risk assessment and management letter, Mr. Dudley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is just a standard annual report required by PAAA, which is the Public Authorities Accountability Act, and the Paris, which is a Public Authorities Reporting Information System reported by the New York State Controller's Office. And we just need to accept this.
All right. Can I get a motion to accept our risk assessment and risk management plan?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you very much. In a second,
One second.
all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, our risk assessment and management plan has been accepted. The NCIDA real property assessment, Mr. W.
Thank you. Same speech as the last item. Just required annual disclosure required. And it covers the properties that we're sitting in now, and then the other one, Niagara Falls Boulevard.
All right, can I get a motion to accept our real property assessment? All right, I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the real property assessment has been accepted. Mr. Dudley, our 7.13 annual investment reports.
Again, this is the annual requirement, and it just a listing of all of our cash and liquid investments on the three entities, the NCDC, NCIDA, and the NABC.
All right, I will make one comment that it should be all of the cash balances are sitting in the safest possible investments. So I will make a motion to accept as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, our investment reports are accepted. Mr. Gabriel, 7.14, affirmation of our administrative policy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As required, the agency annually has to affirm all their administrative policies and on an annual basis. So at this point, the updated binder of policies have been provided to the board. There have been very few changes with the exception of the government accepted and approved and is recommending for approval the motor vehicle policy, which is included in this package. It's been reviewed, and the governance committee is recommending affirmation of all the administrative policies for 2026, including the new motor vehicle policy. The rest of the policies, as I mentioned to you before, we went through these policies about a year or two ago, and they're up to date as to new requirements and by the state. So we feel very comfortable making that recommendation and are asking for a motion and a second to affirm these administrative policies.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, all administrative policies are confirmed for the remainder of 2026. 7.15, our annual report summaries, Mr. Gabriel again.
Again, thank you. The annual report in 7.15 as well as in 7.16, the measurement report, are very similar. They're summaries of what actions the agency has done for the 2025 year. These summaries are required as by the state, and we produce these and post these on an annual basis and an ongoing basis, as a matter of fact. So therefore, what we're asking for both 7.15 and 7.16 is the acceptance of the 2025 annual report summaries, as well as the 2025 annual measurement reports. These actions of motion and seconds will need to be individual. Thank you.
Can I get a motion for 7.15, our annual report summaries?
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
Sorry. Mark, do I need to recuse myself if a couple of those are mentioned? Fine.
No, because these are just, this is not anything, this has already gone through,
Okay,
and this is just affirming that this is accurate.
okay. Sorry, thank you.
All right, 7.15, is there a motion to accept the annual report summary?
I'll make a motion.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, 7.15 carries. Next up, 7.16, our annual measurement reports. Thank you, Mr. Onesi. I will second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, 7.16 carries. All right, on to, that completes the governance / annual piece of this meeting. Up on to 8.0, unfinished business. Ms. Krychek, Somerset Solar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the board, for the project Somerset Solar LLC, before the board this morning, we held a public hearing at Somerset Town Hall on March 11th at 2 p.m. There were several people in attendance from the community. Most of the attendees were not in favor of the project. The criticisms of the project were primarily that this was a poor use of prime farmland. The neighbors in particular were very vocal, understandably so, that they do not want to be surrounded by solar panels. And mostly, you know, in summary, I would say that the community does not want this type of development in their town. There was also comments made from the school district superintendent with objection to the formula, and agency council can address that in a few moments. I just wanted to present the comments and a little background for the board members when considering this agreement this morning. I went back and looked at some of the comments that were originally made by the community when the state went through their siting process. So for those board members that don't maybe understand the history of this, in 2020, New York State enacted 94C, which was an executive law, and it was meant to help accelerate the state's renewable energy goals from the state's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, CLCPA, which requires the state to be at 70% renewable energy by. So 94C, I think the key takeaways is that it streamlined processes like permitting processes because it was taking too long in their view for large scale solar and wind projects to come online. It placed authority, it took it away from the local community and it placed it with the Office of Renewable Energy, ORES. It allowed the state to override all local zoning ordinances. Any concerns that a local community had could be and would be taken into comment. But if this process went beyond 12 months, the state had the ability to do the project regardless of what the community said. And any of the community's criticisms of the project could be determined by the Office of Renewable Energy, citing as, let me use this, unreasonably burdensome. So I went back and I read the community during this siting process. Much of them are very much the same as they are now. This is a poor use of prime farmland. There's going to be a negative effect to the endangered species. CLCPA would increase the electric rates, which I think we're seeing now. Only placing solar on one side of the road. Concerns about decommissioning, setbacks, noise impacts. They were all determined to be unreasonably burdensome, and there was a total disregard for the home rule. What's important to know is the project is happening the day that 94C was adopted. This project was happening. Nothing was going to stop that. 94C puts all the authority in Albany and takes it all away from the local municipality. Even the assessment and how the determination of the assessment of the project is seated with New York State taxation and finance. The only thing that's left in control of the local community is the ability to negotiate this tax agreement and how we can best serve the local community to offset the burden of the project. So the town, one of the speakers at the public hearing was the town supervisor, who also spoke in not in favor of the project, but in favor of the tax agreement. He felt that it was an opportunity for the town to be provided the most funding for the project, and agency council can get into the terms of the agreement. But I thought it was important that the board understood that this agreement is not in favor of the project. It's in favor of the agreement and getting the most financial means to the taxing jurisdictions. So Mark, can you go over the, some of the terms of the agreement, please?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Andrea. As proposed, and again, just as a reminder, the agency would not have accepted this application as per our solar agreement unless and until such time that the town of Somerset supported the application by the company, which they did in a resolution in July of 2025. So we've entertained this and moving forward, and Andrea's summary is to keep in mind that New York State, I'm not sure anyone in this room possibly is in favor of this solar project itself going forward. New York State has taken away the ability of the local jurisdictions to site plan, environmental concerns, planning, everything has been taken away from the local community, which is, I know here in Niagara County, we think home rule is an extraordinarily important thing, which this takes it away. I understand that the reason behind it is to hit the goals of New York State in respect to their green energy. But by doing so, they step on the feet of the local communities moving forward. In addition to what Andrea said, and we set forth as a benefit, but it's really not. But one of the other things New York State does on this is they exempt out all sales tax from the vast majority of the equipment that's going here, notwithstanding. We've listed it just to cover ourselves as a bigger number, but it's just not that big. But anything to do with the panels, the inverters, anything to do with this is already exempt by statute. So that's out the door. So the only thing left is the assessor, and New York State again has taken that away from our local assessment and our local community by going to a formula, which is now already in its second or third variation and has been challenged, whereby that assessment is determined by, once again, a formula created by New York State. During that period of time, this formula, if you look at it, notwithstanding what's involved in the formula, but the assessed value of this property goes down throughout the period. It doesn't go up, it goes down. And in fact, by the end of this 20-year period, it'll be half of what it was when it's starting now. The tax agreement as requested and being considered here today starts at a specific number, and our agreement goes up 2% as an escalator every single year throughout this period of time. One of the other concerns that has been discussed is potentially the equalization rate as well in the town of Somerset, which is 50 or 52%. If the way that would affect the formula would probably cut that assessment, or at least the monies by that is being generated by probably potentially 50%. Why would the company want this? And why would the school district or the communities want it? And I'll be quite frank, I don't think any of them trust New York State. The company doesn't trust them that they may turn around with their formula and change it. And for purposes of business planning, and my friends who are in the banking industry know that if you're formulating a long-term plan for a business, you need to know your fixed costs moving forward. They're not convinced that New York State will, if there's a change at the top or somewhere else, all of a sudden that changes and it affects their overall business plan and their long-term operations. The host community, being the town of Somerset, doesn't trust them that they may not, if the green energy, if the federal tax credits this year dissipate and they're not reaching their green energy goals, that New York State may turn around and again lower the formula to make it even more attractive to other companies to come in and develop these types of things, which would result in less money for our jurisdiction. So I think the supervisor kind of summarized, I think, what everyone's feeling. I think that no one's real happy with this project. We hate, being who we are, we don't like anything shoved down our throats. I said, but for the purposes of the, at least the supervisor in the town of Somerset, this deal is way better than dealing with the state formula and allowing the state to walk through the door. And for the residents of town of Somerset, and we also understand the school district's concerns, but the good news with that is there's not one new family and one new student. It is a loss of revenue in the school district that's hurting, but that really benefits a very small subdivision of the town of Somerset by providing this tax agreement and including the host community that has been negotiated by the town on this. That monies will be divided equally by all the residents of the town of Somerset and will equally be benefited by this going forward. So in essence, I just wanted to set forth that, and I'll take any questions that you may have before you move to a vote, but I tried to be as concise as possible in a very difficult situation. However, just to remind, this is a tax agreement. We're not providing real property tax benefit. We're doing something which is being asked for within our policy, by the town to try to stabilize tax certainty for the next 20 years for this project. And the only other small caveat, I know it was mentioned, some of the comments in there, and I'll just address two real quick. Under New York State now and then in the county, there is a decommissioning process that is in place that bonds have to be set forth on all these like projects, and that will be consistent with this. So there will be a decommissioning plan for this project. That's going to be, it has to be. And the second, there was one comment about dealing with Terrible. That's the landlord. This is Somerset. We'll see that leases this project from Terrible. So, please, there's no time for public. So, if there's any other questions, just to reiterate, all the comments, the public hearing transcript, anything that we have received, you have been forwarded and is in your packet, and you've reviewed them all, including even the new ones that we received late last night and into the morning. So, to make sure that when you've made this decision and take this vote, you're fully apprised of where we are, what the comments were. So, at this time, I will turn this back over to the chairman.
All right, so what we need here is we need a motion for the final resolution for the Somerset Solar Project. Somebody make that motion. I will second that motion. We do need a roll call on this.
Yes.
Jason Trumpa,
I vote yes, obviously with the prejudice.
Mark Ruby,
Yes.
Brian Mahoney. Yes. David Massey,
Yes. I'll just add something to Jason. It should reflect the project. This is the best the town felt.
Susan Langdon,
Yes.
Deanna Brennan,
Yes.
Mark Bonetti.
With prejudice, yes.
Motion carries. 2.1 Voss Manufacturing.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Voss Manufacturing was induced by our agency about a year or so ago. They are moving forward. We are planning on having this closing in the next, we actually have a closing date of April 14th. But in the meantime, their inducement would run out by then. So we're asking for an inducement, a 6-month inducement extension. But the understanding of the board is that that we expect to close this transaction within the next month or so, but we still need to extend the inducement. So I will need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote, please.
I will make a motion for the extension, sorry. Roll call, please.
Jason Trumpa,
Yes.
Mark Ruby,
Yes.
Brian Mahoney.
Yes.
David Massey,
Yes.
Susan Langdon,
Yes.
Deanna Brennan, Mark Bonetti.
Yes.
All right, item number 9.0, new business, 9.1. Our existing obligation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a NCDC meeting on March 12th. At that time, the committee voted for loan modification for Bearco Inc. Bearco, basically they had two lines of manufacturing, and one of them, for a variety of reasons, is no longer producing revenue, and they have pivoted to increase revenue coming from their other line of manufacturing. A reduction in profit for the company, and they asked for a modification of their loan. They feel pretty confident that given some time that they will be able to bounce back, so to speak. So the committee voted to do an interest-only period of 12 months, and after 6 months, staff is to provide an update of progress.
Yeah, so just to piggyback off of that, the loan and grant committee met and went through a bunch of different options. Discussed, at this point, what our potential solutions were. Unfortunately, the company's come under some hard times. Things have been difficult, and we've opted to, provide an interest-only period. The initial request for 12 months interest only. We're going to extend 6 months at this point, and then we want some information with regards to how the company is doing, where they are at, and then that will potentially trigger additional action at that point. So I will make a motion to approve the loan modification as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? We probably need a roll call for that. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Jason Cardwell.
Yeah.
Mark Burley.
Yes.
Ryan Mahoney. Dave Nancy.
Yes.
Susan Linden.
Yes.
Ian Brennan.
Yes.
Mark Bonnet.
Item 9.2.1, cataract grant fund approval amendment. Mr. Gertz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we might recall, the Center for Cashmere Inc. is a world-class cashmere museum currently in development at 650 Park Place in Niagara Falls. They were previously awarded a phase 1 grant for initial construction. They were then subsequently awarded a phase 2 grant for the finishing work such as paint, wood flooring, wall tile, guardrails, general fixtures, etc. At that point, the availability of funds were such that of their $3,655,000 project, they were only awarded $300,000 because of the availability of funds, which was around 8.25%, which was much less than the standard 20% that is typically requested in this grant. At this point, Dr. Guru, the Center for Cashmere, has requested with the new availability of additional funds that we do increase that 8.25 to the standard or traditional 20%, which would make the total fund grant 727. And it passed the committee meeting that the additional $427,000 in extension of this grant is awarded.
If I might, Mr. Chairman, and I'm just going to add to Mr. Kurtz's comments. The original grant was again for the standard 20%, which was done very well. I think a lot of you went there to see this facility. It's very good. At the time of the second phase, we had already committed ourselves to a 3rd Street project for a significant amount of money. So that way, the only thing we had available at that time was about $300,000 or so, which was granted. So that was about 8.25%. They're asking it to go back to our to 20% grant, as Mr. Kurtz has mentioned in the past. The only this action has been recommended by the Cataract Grant Fund. for this action, number one. And number two, as part of this approval and amendment, what we're asking for is the ability to, Dr. Guru is well on his way, so that he can, at this time, submit and get reimbursements, since it is CO has already been provided. Whatever confirmed and authorized expenditures that have been submitted to date, he can get his disbursement for, and thereafter giving him to the end of 2026 to submit the remainder of the expenditures. So that would be the amendment that you see is along those terms. And if there's any questions, myself or Jeremy would be happy to answer.
Does he have, or does this project have all of their funding secured outside of this piece, or is there still a gap that they're working towards getting?
I believe there's still a minor gap, but they have raised over $3.2 million in contributions to this project. They're doing it again. They do have financing, but at a rate that's a little bit too aggressive for them at this particular time, and they can't open yet. But this will go a long way basically to complete it, because as you know, this is a reimbursable grant. So our money does not help them until they expend them. By doing this in the two-part formula will actually help them in their venture of making funds free to finish the rest of the project and then get the reimbursement for the balance.
This is a great project.
It's
I mean,
beautiful.
we have the Underground Railroad Heritage Center on one end of town. This is just another place for people to be able to come. That church was vacant for so long, driving past it, you have the aquarium right down the street. And I have students at ECC from India, waiters. So they know it's good to be there. They want to see it too. It's going to be beautiful. From what we saw the last time we were there, they want, and they have people from all over the United States sending them money to the States. It's, they have a list of don't.
Yeah, if I could expand on that, I guess I didn't realize at first, but after working with Dr. Gerber and visiting a couple times, this isn't another cashmere. This is like it found one. So their donations are not even limited to the United States. They're coming from all over.
And Buffalo wanted this very badly to have it in Buffalo. He chose Niagara Falls on purpose. Falls, other museums, other things to do. Just bring us proximity.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the extension of the grant? All right, thank you, Mr. Messi. Can I get a second? Thank you. Mahoney, all those in favor, we need a roll call.
Lisa Kremba,
Yes.
Mark Thursday,
Yes.
Brian Mahoney, David Massey, Susan Langman, Deanna Brennan.
Yes.
Mark Bonnet.
Item 9.3.1. Okay, Armstrong Cool Technologies.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Niagara County is Armstrong Fluid Technologies has asked that the IDA appoint them as an operator within Foreign Trade Zone number 34. The County of Niagara has been the operator, the grantee for Foreign Trade Zone number 34. Niagara County has an agreement in place with NCIDA as to be designated administrator, and in that role as designated administrator, we enter into operators relations with each operator within the zone. And then as part of that agreement, they report their activity to the Foreign Trade Zone Board, and we report the collective activity. So from the various operators, in this case, is the second operator, and report it in to Foreign Trade Zone Board. So we're asking for this morning to allow us to execute an operators agreement with Armstrong Fluid Technologies. They are going to have be located at 20,000 square feet within the Wheatfield Business Park. Jeremy and I went over and looked at the space, very, very nicely done, very, upgraded, space, with, you know, all the proper procedures put in place. And so, we'd like to recommend that they designate it as an operator.
All right. Can I get a motion for 9.3.1 for the agency to designate outgoing fluid technologies as an operator in this?
Yeah.
I will second that. Do we need a roll call for this? Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Jason Crawford,
Yes.
Frank Rudy,
Yes.
Brian Mahoney,
Yes.
Peter Massey,
Yes.
Susan Lincoln,
Yes.
Deanna Brennan,
Yes.
Mark Bonnet.
Yes.
Item passes. Item 10.0, Mr. Gabriel.
Yes, just for board's education. We've been working with, and I should say we, Andrea, staff is, particularly Andrea, has been working with the County of Niagara regarding the potential development of a business park in Cambria. We expect, and in the conversations Andrea has had with the county's group, we expect that as part of this, there are specific grants that have been allocated for this business park. They understand that, you know, the agency is in a much better position to run a business park since this is, and to develop it like we've done here. So we anticipate down the line, just so everyone knows, that the county could be coming to us and requesting that, and if we do have this transfer of both the grants and the land, and we go forward with this development process, it may come before the board, and we would handle it under our local development corporation, Niagara Area Development Corporation, not under the IDA's for purposes of liability limitations. So I just wanted the board to know that that is something that may come to us in the next X amount of months or what. Bless you. Thanks. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else informational items for the good of the order? All right.
I've had the
The
privilege.
floor is yours.
I've had the privilege of sitting at this table for 16 years. It's hard to give it up, but it's time to give it up. And working with professionals that are interested in making this county better is the reason I came. It's the reason I stayed. And I want to thank all of you.
I appreciate all the years of commitment that you've, you know, provided this board. You don't want to leave without giving you something.
$16 Mark.
16.
Almost as long as it get out of college.
What's that? I'm older than girls.
All right. Thank you so much. On that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
And a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.